Welcome to the ResearchWorks podcast, broadcasting live from the Oceania Academy of Cerebral Palsy and Other Childhood Onset Disabilities Conference 2026 in the beautiful city of Hobart, Australia. Join Dr. Dana Poole and the ResearchWorks team as we bring you an exclusive series of interviews with visionary keynote speakers and leading presenters, captured right here amid the groundbreaking discussions and innovations shaping the future of disability research and care.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our conference series. We are here at Oceania Academy 2026, Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. And as part of our conference series, we'll be speaking to keynote speakers and people who've got some great research that's innovative that we believe that you need to know more about. And our guest right now is no exception. Welcome to the pod, Kirstin Pascoe. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dana, for having me.
Thank you for being here. Super excited to talk about this paper. Full disclosure, this is something I'm involved with as well. So we all are loving what this is hopefully going to deliver. The title of this is CP-Movetime, a co-designed mobile application to promote physical activity in non-ambulant children and youth with cerebral palsy. So anyone who knows me knows these are all of my favorite words. So to kick us off, Kirstin, can you tell us what this paper is all about?
Sure. So this paper is all about the co-design process for the CP-Movetime app. Mm-hmm. And the CP-Movetime app came about with the CP-Movetime study. And the aim of the study is really to increase physical activity in youth and children with cerebral palsy, GMF level 4 and GMFCS level 4 and 5.
Yes. And it's a really important group, isn't it? This is the group that we often talk about from a background perspective that have very little opportunity to engage in physical activity. We've always been trying to think of strategies of how we can increase physical activity, but it's been something that's been so incredibly challenging. And I suppose this is why this study came about in the first place, was to see, well, how can we get these kids more active? And the key was really in developing a new kind of tool. We couldn't really use anything that was off the shelf, could we?
That's it. So what we've actually done is we're combining a wearable sensor worn on the leg with a custom designed algorithm and then a co-designed mobile application in order to create a tool by which to track, record and display movement for those with cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And look, we can't use anything that's already out on the market, like what are they called? The Fitbits or Garmin's. Like we can't really use that. And I think that was something that a lot of people often think about. Like, can't we use them because that's built on lots of data? But it is such a specific population, isn't it, in terms of what kind of movements they might engage with, where they might use it and how they might use it. So really curious about the whole process for you to step us through this co-design phase. So what encompassed this whole phase of co-design?
Sure. So there's actually like three main phases in the co-design stage. And the first is pre-design. So that's when we're looking at speaking to stakeholders to really understand what do the daily routines look like for those with CP? What do they want out of an app?
Yeah.
What are they looking for in the way it's displayed? What's displayed? The second phase is co-design. So we're taking all that information and we're building a prototype.
Right.
And then we're iterating based on feedback.
Right.
And the third phase is called the pre-testing phase. And that's when we use a single case experimental design, a SCED, to actually test the use of the app in the real world.
Yeah. So quite involved. How long of a period did this take as you describe all of them? Like, did it happen in a series of months?
No, not at all. So from that initial round of when we met with our stakeholders, that was in 2023, towards the end of 2023. And then it took to the end of 2024 to get the prototype up, running and tested in a way that it was ready.
Yeah.
And then the SCEDs started taking place in middle of 2025. So we're talking about an 18-month time period here in which everything goes from start to getting it out there and ready for use.
Yeah, wow. And I think that's the part that is always, it's so important to note that because co-design is such a buzzword that's out there. And whenever you're working with stakeholders, and there are so many stakeholders, you already listed there, you've been talking to clinicians, parents, youth with cerebral palsy, but there's also industry that you're having to talk to as well in terms of where this might sit. So yeah, of course, it's going to be really involved. Let's go through each of those phases in a little bit more detail. I'm really curious about more information on the pre-design phase in terms of how that was actually done, how was it actually done?
Yeah, absolutely. So we interviewed 4 parents, 4 clinicians, 2 consumers and 2 digital experts to really get a range of information about what does a day look like, what data is important, what colours might work, what design elements might work, what was really beneficial, so that gamified space for young children was really important. So we've ended up with a closing rings motif and a hatching dragon and things to make the app a little more interactive and engaging for this age group.
Yeah. And it's amazing, isn't it? Like the intention that is required for engagement and a lot of stakeholders actually, because this is not just an app for kids to see, it's for the parents, it's for clinicians. So you really needed to make sure you had everything combined.
Yeah, and we needed to make sure it was going to work across ages in a way that was most importantly effective and clear and pleasing to look at.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so that was the first phase. The second phase of co-design, where the prototype was developed and refined based on feedback. What did that actually look like, and what did the feedback, how was that derived?
Absolutely. So that looked like building the app, testing the app ourselves numerous times, sending it out to others to test, holding sessions with our stakeholders to meet with them for them to test the app, to showcase it, to identify what they liked, what they didn't like, and what just may not be working.
That's a good phase to go through, but hopefully, honest feedback is what you get, so you actually can iterate properly.
Absolutely.
And then the pre-testing phase, where you use the single case experimental designs. Can you talk us through what that looked like?
Yeah, so single case experimental design is a research methodology where you look at the effects of an individual, effects for one individual against themselves. So what we did was we used that app in real world, and then after the use of that scared period, the app in the scared period, we actually took feedback from both the parents and the clinicians to identify what worked and what didn't. And we collected that data in a couple of different ways. So the first was doing a systems usability scale questionnaire. And the second was interviews done using the consolidated implementation research,
CIFA?
the CIFA. Sorry, I always struggle with that one.
The Consolidated Framework for Implementation Research, which is why we like calling it the CIFA.
The CIFA. Yeah. Much easier and cleaner.
Okay, so with those outcomes to provide that kind of feedback, walk us through what that looked like.
Great. So what we did was we took feedback from the 6 parents and the 2 clinicians, and we took the data from the systems usability scale, and what that looked like was parents were saying, this is a system by which we're looking at the usability of an implementation, and we found that parents scored the app at 85.8 and clinicians scored it at 76.2, both of which is above the benchmark of usability of 68.
Good.
And then for the CIFA guided interviews, what we were looking at is understanding the thematic analysis of what worked and what didn't. So parents loved the motivational aspect of using the app. They found it really clear and easy to use. They really loved to see the data, particularly when they weren't with their children. So when their children were at school, for example.
Yes.
And there are, of course, some challenges along the way. So for the parents, it was in that early round of SCEDS, there were some technical issues which caused syncing issues, which means a delay in receiving the data.
Sure. Yep.
And there's also some battery limitations. So 3 months for the sensor, and then some water resistance limitations for use in hydro.
Right.
And along the lines of the similar things for the clinicians, they also struggled with the tech issues, which is no surprise.
Okay.
In the later rounds of SCEDS, we've worked those out, which is really fantastic. There were some integration challenges integrating into their existing workload, but they really loved the app. They perceived it as really innovative and of great use to families. And for the clinicians, they loved being able to see the movement of their clients and to use it to guide their sessions. Yeah,
it provides that real objective perspective about what the kids and the young people are doing. And really, when we're looking at our resources and not being able to do face-to-faces all the time, you can look at this quite remotely as well. So that I think that's such a bonus, and it was lovely to see that coming through in some of the feedback that you got from this. And again, it's so great to have, you've got a score that tells you overall what it looks like, but to have that qualitative information just provides such a robust method to actually iterate, because you don't want people telling you that it's great. Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful as an acceptability perspective, but you actually want to know what all the problems are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to know both. And it was really interesting what came out of that feedback. We found that clinicians were actually communicating with the school so that they could talk about how they could increase movement during a school day. The aspect of using it to identify what's happening in a day, that was so highly liked by parents, and that was so interesting. But it's not just, as you said, what works, it's what doesn't work that helps us iterate to provide the best product at the end.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the really unique factor about this is a study that's been done at many different sites, trying to get a bit of a sample of different sites across Australia. And I think from that there's a lot of advantages, but a lot of challenges as well, trying to have this across different sites. So I guess where to now for the study? Where are you up to? What's next? Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've conducted 2 rounds of SCAREDs and we're currently engaged in our 3rd round of SCAREDs. Following this, each of our 7 partner sites will go into a 12-month knowledge translation phase.
Brilliant.
So this period is really an opportunity to generalise use of the app and to engage as many consumers and allied health professionals using the app as possible to get greater feedback about what's working and not working. We have 7 partner sites. We have Northcote in Queensland and New South Wales. We have Cerebral Palsy Alliance in the ACT, Healthy Strides Foundation in Western Australia, St Giles in Tasmania, Novita in South Australia, and MCRI in Victoria. So all of those partner sites. So there's definitely, if you're interested and you want to get in touch, please do reach out to us and we can link you in with our partner sites.
That's really great. So what email can people get in a hold of you if they're interested in either a clinician that wants to know more, or, you think you might have some clients or participants that this would be great for, or if you're a family member that thinks this might be something that you'd be interested in using, how can they reach out?
Yeah, fantastic. Definitely please reach out to me via CP-Movetime at curtin.edu.au and I'd be happy to link you to the right place.
That's really fabulous. And for all of the clinicians, we've talked in previous times about the ResearchWorks Academy. Of course, this is still something that's up and running. And one of the courses we have on the ResearchWorks Academy, which is completely free, it's complimentary, is the CP-Movetime training, where you'll be walked through the background of this, but also what the app looks like, what the dashboard looks like, and how you could possibly use this within your practice as well. And through that, it's just to be part of this wider network of clinicians and researchers that want to increase physical activity for this population.
Absolutely. Please reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Very, very good. Well done. It's a big piece of work, and co-design is not an easy thing to do. So I think it really does require a big team to get this done, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got fantastic support from many organisations from Australia and internationally and great key collaborating organisations who provide the support.
Fabulous. Thank you for walking us through that study. To all of our listeners, I hope you really enjoyed that. There's some key sources of information there that you can take a look at. Definitely head to researchworks.academy if you want to take a look at that particular course, and definitely reach out to Kirstin as well if you're interested in participating in the next phase. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll talk to you all again in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.